the complete theory part and we'll solve the practical questions tomorrow. So in 2 lectures it will get over. Okay, very exploring and simple chapter. Silence! Now, understand few terms. Then we understand what is the meaning of sampling methods. So first understand few terms and concepts. First term is population. Now, in statistics, population is not the economics population of the country. So if they ask you what is population, you don't write 135 crores in Now, what is this population? Keep silence everyone now. What is population will depend on the field of your inquiry, survey. The basic purpose of this whole chapter is collecting information. The basic purpose of this entire chapter is collecting the information. So just for example, if I want to know the IQ, intelligence question, common sense, of 11th commerce students studying in my class, then whatever 70 students are there, that is population. So population is the total number of units covered in your field of inquiry. Before population there is an inquiry which is to be done. And if you want an information about this 70 students, then all this 70 students group is considered to be population. Did everyone understand this? And sample. Second term is sample. Now, as I said, what is the purpose of my inquiry? I want to test the IQ of this 70 students of 11th commerce. And I want to make a conclusion. Is the overall batch good or bad? No, the overall batch is good. Mischievous doesn't mean bad. Okay? So, now, be attentive. So, one way is I collect the information on IQ of all the 70 students. And another way is I select out of 70, let us say I select 9 people. 3 people duffers, failures, very, very weak in studies. 3 people most brilliant, always the rankers in the school. And 3 people average in studies. Okay? Mediocre in studies. And I collect the information from this 9 students only. But will I get the idea about the whole class from this 9 also or not? Why not? I'll get the idea. Because the behavior of all the failures is going to be almost same only. For example, suppose I want to inquire and I ask the question, just for example, if I ask the question, Gaurav, please tell me, is 1 kg cotton heavier or 1 kg iron? 1 kilo ruई बारी के 1 kilo लोहा. Both are 1 kg, then why iron is heavier? This is IQ. Sit down. Don't laugh on others because I'm quite sure 80% of the class thought iron only. My question was, is 1 kg cotton heavier or 1 kg iron? When I am saying 1 kg cotton or 1 kg iron, 1 kg means both are 1 kg only. So iron is not heavier than cotton here, both are equal. So this type of question, now even if I ask it to 3 failures, 3 intelligent and 3 average students, I'll get the idea about the whole class. This is sample. This 9 students selected from 70 is sample. And the process of collecting information from all the units is called population inquiry, or it is also called as census survey. Either you call it as population inquiry or you call it as census survey. And the information, instead of 70, if you collect from only 9 out of 70, it is called sample inquiry. Is everyone of you clear with this? Any confusions so far? Now, practically speaking, what is the purpose of statistic and statisticians? To get more output from less efforts. When you can get the same information from 9, why should you get that from 70 and waste time, energy and money? So generally, statistics means from the first chapter you'll see that we are making efforts to reduce the data and the labor. By frequency distribution, the bulk of data of pages was reduced into few lines. Then when we came to central tendency, that data of few lines was represented by a single figure, mean, median, mode, etc. So when the same information can be obtained by sample inquiry, then population inquiry need not be done. And sometimes, practically, it is impossible to do population inquiry. Practically, it is not justified to do population inquiry. Like recently, Kite Festival has gone. So if you want to know on an average how many kites are there in the sky, very difficult. Even if you employ hundreds and thousands of people, they continue looking at the sky. One kite will go and other side will count the same kite again. So very, very difficult practically. We can select a sample of few areas and then multiply by the number of areas and obtain on an average how many kites are there. Some more examples where population inquiry is just impossible. Blood test. What does the laboratory person do in the blood test? He takes few drops of blood in a bottle and then concludes whether you have malaria, typhoid, dengue, gunya, etc. Does he do population survey or census survey? Sample survey. Imagine it as population survey. You will not be alive to know which disease you have. So here population survey is just impossible. Only possibility is to do sample survey. Okay. After 5 hours of school, you go back hungry to the home. Back. Your mother cooks very tasty and delicious food. While cooking it, she tastes it, whether salt, pepper and other spices are proper or not. Imagine she does population survey and you reach hungry at home and you know the food was very tasty. But today I tried population survey. So what does she do again? Sample survey. Here again population survey is just not possible. Is everyone clear with it? How many of your parents store the wheat and rice for the whole year? Majority. So how do they select the wheat when they go to the shop or the market? They take handful quantity of wheat, okay, sharbati, etc., whatever it is, and they decide this one is good packet. Or do they sit over there? Entire sack empty, I'll check each and every, and then only I'll take them. So here also which survey is done? Did you understand it? So various phases of life you'll find this, that population inquiry is just impossible. We have to do only sample. Now what is important here is how to select that 9 units. The process of selecting that 9 units from 70 units is called sampling method. Like this one simple example I'll give you. If I want to select 9 from 70, where everyone gets equal chance of being selected, what I can do is, in a container, I place 90 chips. So 70 chips, with each of the chip bearing the name Darshan, Ved, Simran, and so on up till Yani. And each chip is of same size, shape and color, so that I cannot do any discrimination. That Gaurav chip slightly have food and he only comes particularly. So favorite students, I don't take out any special discrimination. Here, no discrimination is there. All the chips are of equal size, shape and color. And then randomly you select the 9 chips. This is one of the method of collecting the sample. The process of collecting the sample is called sampling methods. Is everyone clear with this? Now, mainly there are 2 types of samples which can be collected. One is sample or sampling with replacement, and the other is sample or sampling without replacement. Now, how many of you play cards? So, how do you distribute the cards? For example, suppose let us say we 3 are playing Tripartite. How will we distribute the cards? First, second, third. Now, will I distribute in this manner? First card, take it back. Second card, take it back. How will I distribute? First, second, third. This is called without replacement. First card is going from 52. Second is going from 51. Third is going from 50. That is without replacement. Now, 9 sample of 9 students from 70 was to be collected. I place the chips in the container. So one way is I select the first. Let us say it comes to Uday. Then first I selected from 70. It is gone. Now second I will be selecting from 69. Let us say second turns out to Ayushi. Gone. Now third I will select from 68. This is without replacement. And the other method is with replacement. I select Uday. Again I fold it properly, keep it back and shuffle it. So again second I am selecting from all 70. Then it comes out to, let us say, Ayush. So second also I selected from all 70. Again I fold it back properly and keep it. Third also I am selecting from 70. Can Uday come again or not? Yes. That is sampling with replacement. If you select a unit without replacing the earlier unit, without replacement. If you select the next unit after replacing back the previous unit with replacement. When we practically solve the examples, remember that same unit can come 2 times if it is with replacement. And without replacement, same unit cannot come 2 times. Is everyone clear with it? Now mainly there are 3 methods of sampling. One is simple random sampling. Yes. Yes, keep silence. Second is stratified random sampling. And third is systematic sampling. As I said, just we attended complete theory we will do today, so all the concepts will be covered. Then we'll solve the practicals tomorrow. Okay? Now simple random sampling means it can be done when the population it can be done when the population is homogeneous. Yes, silence everyone. Homogeneous means similar, alike. Like I gave the example, 11th commerce. All of you are homogeneous in the sense that all of you belong to 11th commerce. You all have similar characteristics. Did you understand? That is homogeneous. Stratified is done when the population is heterogeneous. This I'll explain later. Understand the first two. Simple random sampling is done when the population is homogeneous, means alike, similar. Stratified random sampling is done when the population is heterogeneous, dissimilar, not similar. Okay, for example, I have to select sample from this 11th commerce, it is simple random sampling. But suppose I have to select sample of students from entire UL class, IOC UL class. Then there are 2000 students. Some belonging to 11th, some belonging to 12th, first year, second year, third year, CA, CS, CMA. So many groups are there. Here, even if from 2000, if I select 100 students, it will not represent the whole population. Because maybe all 100 come from 11th and 12th only. Then there is no representative of first year, second year, third year, CA and CS. So what we do in this heterogeneous population is, we divide the heterogeneous population into homogeneous groups, which are called stratas. Means I would divide the UL class into 5 groups, suppose, for simplicity. 11th, 12th, first year, second year, third year. These groups, are they internally homogeneous or not?
Yes.
Are you all clear with this? These internally homogeneous groups are called stratas. Thereafter, I'll collect separately. Suppose I need 200 students. I'll collect separately a sample from 11th commerce. Let us say suppose 50 students out of 200. I'll collect separately a sample of 12th commerce, let us say 50 students. First year BCom, let us say 30 students. Second year, let us say 30, and third year 40. Depending on the population, means where there is more number of students, I have selected larger sample. Less number of students, I have selected smaller sample. So what do I do is, first I divide this population into strata. From each strata or group, I do simple random sampling. And I combine the results. The combined result is called stratified random sampling. And in simple random sampling, you do the selection in such a manner that each and every unit gets equal chance of selection. Like that container check method. It is called lottery method. Did everyone of you understand this? So when do we do simple random sampling? When the population is similar, homogeneous, and stratified when the population is heterogeneous. Okay. And systematic means you pick up any number. See, I'll give you an example. Suppose 70. I want to select how many students? 9. Okay. So you pick up any number from, first of all, 70 divided by 9 is how much? 70 divided by 9. 7 point something. Let us say round it off to 8. So my systematic clusters or groups are of 8 each. Now what I will do is from 1 to 8, you select any number randomly. Let us say 5. Let us say 5. Suppose. Then you keep on adding 8. 5 plus 8, 13. 13 plus 8, 21. 21 plus 8, 29. 29 plus 8, 37. 37 plus 8, 45. 45 plus 8, 53. 53 plus 8, 64. This will be my 9 samples. Suppose I allot you the numbers. He is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on up till 70. First number I selected randomly 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth person is my one part of the sample. Then 5 plus 8. So after that 13th is my next sample. So every 8th unit is selected. This is called systematic sampling. Did everyone of you understand it? Let us mark the theory and practical questions will pick up tomorrow from that. So complete chapter's concept is over here. All are clear with this? I'll make you underline the important points of theory. Page number 249. Page number 249. Do you read it? First paragraph, meaning, and then the complete paragraph. A set or group of all units or items under study is called population. Circle all units. All units are population. And also like set or group of units selected from population on the basis of some definite criteria is called sample. And then selected means circle the word selected, and that is called sample. Last paragraph, and like second sentence onwards, a sample in which each unit is selected from the population after replacing the unit selected earlier in the population is called sample with replacement. Next also, a sample in which each unit is selected from the population without replacing the unit selected earlier in the population is called a sample without replacement. Population inquiry, sample inquiry, and then the first whole paragraph. Second sentence is important. The inquiry in which information is collected from each and every unit of population is called population inquiry or census survey. Third paragraph. The inquiry in which information is collected from few units selected from the population is called sample inquiry or sample survey. Last paragraph. The procedure of selecting a sample from population is called sampling. Need for sampling, next page. First point underline. Population very large. Second point underline. Spread over wide geographical area. Third, units to be destroyed. Now understand this. When units are to be destroyed, you cannot do population survey. Like for example, quality testing. Suppose you manufacture TV boxes. 1,000 boxes are manufactured. You want to test the durability of the box. And you put the TV, it should be able to hold. The TV should not come from down. So you destroy few boxes and see. Will you destroy all the 1,000 boxes and remanufacture it again? You destroy few boxes and judge the quality of all the boxes. Life of a bulb. You have manufactured 1,000 bulbs. You want to know whether the life is proper or not. So will you put on all the 1,000 bulbs and wait for them to go off and then see that on an average they go off after 200 hours? Will you put on all the bulbs? No. You will put on sample of 5 to 10 bulbs and see what is their life in number of hours. Here the units are to be destroyed. You cannot use population survey. You have to use sample. Fourth, and then limited resources. So if you don't have enough money, time, people, then you cannot go in for population survey. You should do sample survey. Last paragraph, last two sentences. The measures such as mean, standard deviation, etc. calculated from the numerical data obtained from sample units are called sample statistic, and then statistic mainly. And all these measures obtained from population data are called parameters. For example, 70 students in class. If I obtain mean, median, mode, standard deviation of all 70 students, is called parameter. And if I obtain same mean, median, mode, standard deviation of only 9 students, it is called statistic. So when you obtain the measures from sample, it is called statistic. And when you obtain the measures from whole population, it is called parameter. Did everyone understand this? Characteristics of an ideal sample. First point, underline, represent the population. Second, no favor or prejudice. Third, selected in same time and condition. Fourth, selection independent. And fifth, size adequate, means it should neither be too big nor too small. Points to be considered while determining the sample size. First, underline size of population and scope of study completely. Second, underline variability. If population is similar, then lesser sample will do. But if population is variable, then you have to collect a larger sample. Underline resources. If you have more resources, bigger sample. Less resources, smaller sample. And fourth, accuracy. If you want accurate results, bigger sample. If accuracy is not so important, but you just need to do the survey, then smaller sample. Now sampling methods. So directly underline the last paragraph. Simple random sampling, stratified and systematic. 3 methods are there. Simple random sampling meaning, underline the second sentence, a sampling in which units are selected independent of each other in such a way that each unit belonging to the population has an equal chance of being a part of the sample is called simple random sampling. So as I said, every unit should get equal chance, like that lottery method what I discussed. Then see below that, can you see 2 methods are there, the method of lottery and random number table. And then random number table and in bracket are practical questions. We will not have practical questions on lottery method. We'll have it on random number table. That will be doing tomorrow. Method of lottery. I already explained you that container how to do it, method of lottery. Underline second sentence onwards. In this method onwards, units of population are assigned numbers 1, 2, 3 to identify them. Small and identical slips of paper. Sohail and Gaurav, what is going on? In this method, units of population are assigned numbers. One more time, I will not see that now. If you don't want to study, both of you leave the class. Out. They are assigned the numbers 1, 2, 3 to identify them. Small and identical slips of paper bearing each number are prepared. Then slips are folded and mixed together in a vessel or a box. A blindfold selection of slips is made one by one until a sample of required size is obtained. So this is the method. You understand this? Next page, random number table. Now we'll be solving directly the practical question only, but what is random number table? Like, have you seen logarithm book? That means there is a full book of filled up of numbers. You randomly open a page and you select the numbers from that. Like for example, my population is of how many units?
70.
So if I allot you the numbers 1, 2, 3 up till 70, will I have any number more than 70 in my class? So I open the page of that book randomly, and whichever numbers in the order comes less than 70, that I select. So if the first number comes 82, I will not select because there is no 82 number in my class. Second number comes 53rd. Whosoever is getting 53rd number allotted, that sample will be selected. Did you understand this, everyone? This is random number table. Mainly what we need to remember here is the types of tables. So, second paragraph. Yes, be attentive. In second paragraph, this can come in 1 mark question. Underlying 3 random number tables. Common ones are LHC Tippett's random number table, Fishers and Yates random number tables, and random number tables of Rand Corporation of America. In the next paragraph, underline Tippett's random number table is commonly used to draw a random sample. If they ask you for 1 mark, which is the most commonly used random number table? Advantages and disadvantages of simple random sampling. Please don't make noise in between, my throat is already bad, so don't make me short, otherwise you're gone. Anyone talking in between is going to get severe impositions. Gaurav, you come on the first bench, fast. Advantages, first, underline no bias or prejudice. Second, represents the population. Third, reliable information with less cost and time. Disadvantage, first, requires complete list of population. Second, size of population is large. Preparation of slips, tedious and time consuming. Third, not representative if sample size is small. Now stratified random sampling. Underline the complete paragraph up to the last second sentence. When the population is heterogeneous, that is, when there is considerable amount of variation among the units of population, the use of stratified random sampling is more appropriate than simple random sampling. In this form of sampling, the population is first divided into 2 or more mutually exclusive groups based on some characteristics or variables under study. Like I said, you divide it into 5 groups, 11, 12, FY, SY and T. The process of dividing heterogeneous population into non-overlapping, fairly homogeneous group is called stratification, and these groups are called stratas. These stratas differ from one another, and units of each stratum have almost same characteristics in terms of variation. Then a random sample is independently drawn from each stratum, and random samples so obtained from all the strata are combined to get sample, which is called stratified random sample, and the method of selecting the sample is called stratified random sampling. Page 258. Advantages and disadvantages. First advantage, underline, representative sample. at the end. Second, increase accuracy. Third, enables to maintain accuracy. Fourth, administrative convenience because you can divide the work of collecting the data. From 11, some other person can collect, from 12, some other. So administrative convenience. Separate enumerators. Disadvantages. Difficult to divide into homogeneous data. Third, stratification not proper, then accuracy decreases. Third, method or procedure of estimating population parameters is complicated. Okay, the last topic is systematic. Second paragraph, underline completely. Suppose that n units of population are arranged in some systematic order and are numbered from 1 to 8. Like I gave the example 1 to 70, we'll number them. We want to select the sample of n units, like in my example 9 units. From it such that capital N equals to n into k. What is k? N divided by n. That's what I did. 70 divided by 9. It was coming to 7 point something, we rounded off to 8. Where k is usually called the sampling interval. So 8 is the sampling interval. Here we will assume k to be an integer value. So instead of 7 point something, we rounded off to the integer 8. We select a unit at random from the first units. So actually from 1 to 8, you select any unit, suppose 5, and select every kth unit thereafter. So 5 plus 8, 13. 13 plus 8, 21. Set of such selected units is called systematic sample, and method of obtaining is called systematic sampling. And last, page 260. Advantages, underline first, easier without mistakes. Second, spread over entire population. Third, less time and labor. Disadvantages, first, works well only if complete population available. Second, arranging in systematic order is time consuming. Third, not completely random, means it may be biased also. And fourth, it's and may be biased. So practical questions on each of the three.